Andy, couldn't you have more of a twinkle in your eye like your father?
More twinkle.
Welcome to podcast 43. Yes, 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 maybe, but yes.
Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of Podcast 43. I'm joined by my two hosts,
Fulton Collins and
Glick. No, it's Cody. Hello, everybody.
Hey,
Hello.
Martin Short.
Wow, I'm with Chris and Fulton. I can't quite do that.
We're talking about
accent.
Andy Hardy.
It's like that. Like remember that bit in,
Hardy.
Remember-
Hardy.
remember that bit in Curb Your Enthusiasm where like Larry David like sees Martin Short on the street and he like talks to him out and he's like asking him like how do you do the Jiminy Glick voice, and it like takes him like an hour to like explain
To
like,
figure out
yeah.
the Jiminy Glick lore. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty incredible.
But yeah, so we're wrapping up Andy Hardy. We just got to talk about one movie this episode, and then we'll go right into the rankings. But how do you guys feel with the fact that we have completed all 16 Andy Hardy films? Quite an achievement because we're the only people that are under the age of 80 that have seen every single one
I've
of
seen
these
every
movies.
one. It's
Yeah.
pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I feel pretty accomplished. I feel like a pretty, goaded individual, as the kids say. Goaded.
I don't know if there will be another crew of people like us. I hope I'm wrong, but
They're
you
not
know,
like us. They're not like us.
Oh yes. All right. Yeah, Andy went to we know he went to LA, but did he go to Compton? Then that's truly like another question on our minds. As we're in this final
He
stretch of
already
things.
raps enters the Drake
Dun, 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 dun.
Kendrick beat.
I remember when Cody brought this idea to my attention. Well, I remember when he bought this Andy Hardy DVD set.
I did. I bought. Yeah.
He was like, Chris. He's like, Chris. There's these movies with Mickey Rooney, and there's like 16 of them, and they were like the biggest thing back in the day. And he's like, we should watch them all.
You should watch every one because they made so much money and no one has ever talked about them.
But now looking back at it,
we actually did it. We did that. We really did it. Like, we did it, Joe. Oh my gosh,
we did it, Joe.
we're crazy for this one. No one's
Mhm.
matching our freak. Like this is on God one of the craziest things. Watching all these Andy Hardy movies.
And the fact that they were gonna make more of these, but this one, I think it was like the only one in the series that actually like did not do well, and they just decided that they needed to pull the plug.
I mean, insane to end a movie with "to be continued." Like that's that's not good. Like even like that's crazy. That's crazy.
Even the other Andy Hardy films didn't have that type of bravado. They never said to be continued. They would just do the little like joke at the end. This one doesn't end with like a little snappy one-liner from Andy Hardy too. He's not like woo-wee, I'm gonna be a judge, haha, or something.
That would be awesome if they did that though. I'm a judge, yay! I mean, I feel happy to be done.
Yeah.
I think it was interesting. But I guess, without further ado, we can kind of, if y'all have any other thoughts or anything on kind of the pre-talk, but if you guys are ready, we can hop right into this one.
No, I'm good. Yeah.
Okay, so we do have Andy Hardy Comes Home, this was 11 or 12 years after the
12,
last one. 12 years, yeah. And so a lot of time has passed, and we see so I was about to say Mickey, but Andy Hardy coming back home to Carvel, and everyone is noticeably has aged in this time. Some never mind, I won't say that. I was gonna say something that would not be very nice of me to say.
Something in the water in Carvel.
Yes.
They don't even like they probably don't even drink water or moisturize their skin in Carvel. I think they just drink
Yeah.
coffee and like alcohol
And
and
stand in the
Yes.
sun.
and stand in the
And
sun
ice
without
cream
sunscreen.
sodas.
Um,
Ice cream sodas. They drink a lot of those.
But I guess like one of the interesting stylistic things, like right off the bat, is obviously for moving from the 40s to the 50s, like stylistic conventions are different, and so we have a wider aspect ratio than we've had in the previous films. I don't know why. I was always under the assumption that this one was a color film, but it's not. It's in black and
No,
white.
it's still in black and white. Yeah.
So that was interesting. That was a bit different. But I mean, um, I really do kind of like the opening with Andy on a plane and kind of coming home, and then there's a shot of the plane in the clouds, and they're doing all the title cards and a few interesting things you
That's
might
pretty
notice.
exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, and the score is really quite emphatic. It's very interesting. But the music by Mickey Rooney, he contributed to some of the songs in this film, which I thought was a little interesting.
He's a renaissance man, that Mickey Rooney.
Yeah. He's good at acting, marrying, singing,
Necking.
necking.
Yeah.
Or as Judge
Um,
Hardy would call it, spooning.
Hmm. But where would you guys really like to start, I guess, with it's weird because I don't know how much I really have to say other than I guess I will say there is kind of like a sad nostalgia that's a part of this film, and I don't know if that's like I don't want to read too much into it because I don't think it's exactly this, but maybe like a return to like a simpler time before war, before World War II. But that might be me reading too much into it. But I think it's like a little sad in like the way Andy is so happy about his past and the way they use the flashbacks in these films. Because someone will just like mention an old flame of his and he'll be like, ah, and then like kind of glazing his eyes will glaze over and he'll get a giant smile on his face and then it'll cut to a flashback from the prior films that we've already seen and these scenes just play out way too long for
yeah,
me.
it's this heavy usage of archival footage, which is also cropped to fit the new aspect ratio, which
Hmm.
is a I think is a sin, a cinematic sin, I would say. But
Cinema Sin.
a
Sorry.
cinema sin. Uh, don't bring up that name on this podcast.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, so he has these like kind of romanticization. Oh no, he kind of waxes poetic about his past through these flashbacks,
His past
but
conquests. Yeah.
his past conquests. And there's even this part where he gets home to Carvel, gets off the plane, and he goes up to his room, which is left the same as you know, I mean, it's all the same. It's all in basically in order. And all of the pictures of all the women that he's hissed and courted are on the wall. And I just think that that's kind of weird.
It's very strange.
Yeah, it's very
so
weird.
strange. That's where the movie I think is at its weakest, is when it is recalling the previous love interests. I think that's just unnecessary. I think they get away with it at the start. I didn't mind the Judy Garland flashback on the plane, but as the movie keeps getting on, and as we're reminded of all the other love interests and Andy Hardy's behavior, it is like, okay, man, like this is getting ridiculous.
Mhm.
That said, I like this movie. I think the movie is a nice throwback to the family affair days when we're talking about, business and land and the aqueduct. It's kind of like that, but instead it's a missile factory, but they're making airplane parts. It's a little. Again, this film is giving us too information that gives us too many questions that we really don't need. It could have just been very simple.
Yeah,
Um,
this one goes deep into the weeds of like urban planning policy. They're like, we're gonna get
very
this
deep
area rezoned so you can't
zone.
build a factory here, and we're gonna start a new like a new committee in the city, and then you'll be in charge of it so you can do the rezoning. And it's very strange, but it's also par for the course for an Andy Hardy film to
Yeah.
think that the audience cares this much about, administrative local government policy. So
I
yeah.
mean, on that note, like I think that's the most interesting aspect of the film is just like it dealing with modernization and urbanization, because naturally, like there are fears of what what does it mean to bring a factory to a small town? Like how will that change the economy? How will that change like the population, like the general communal vibe of the town? I think that's all pretty interesting. So I'm oddly down for that, but the nostalgia
I am as
aspects
well.
of it are so like I don't really
That's-
understand how him reflecting on past loves is affecting the story. Like I know he wants
Yeah.
to better Carvel, but I don't know how thinking about
No.
flings has anything to
Flings
do with
is
it.
it's yeah, no, you're right. That is sad. That is bizarre. Um
uh,
Chris just asked, what about think of that film Past Lives? But it's Andy Hardy. Is pretty inspired bit
it's
right
like
there, Chris.
he meets up with Polly.
He meets up with Polly and they're
I
like
thought
both
they were gonna do
married.
something like
I
that.
low key, why is Polly not in this? It's a little strange.
Shouldn't
Yeah.
She
she
moved
be the
away.
wife? That's another thing too. I like
It's
Yeah,
very
having a
strange for it
wife
to just be
mean
like, I mean, it's very strange for it to just be somebody that we've never met. I mean, it does feel realistic though. It's like the chances
mhm.
of
yeah.
you going off to the chances of you like, marrying somebody that you dated in high school after like going somewhere
Or
else
in
to
college.
college,
Well,
or yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
I mean, it's
it's not very
kind of
likely.
strange because she. I mean, I never mind. I'm not gonna go there.
I just like I guess that's another small little and to be fair, I should also say like I really don't mind this movie. I just a small qualm that I have is like we've spent 15 films with this character intensely dissecting his love life, and we don't even know how he met this woman. We know
Yes.
literally nothing about her other than her name is Jane, and that she is told by Mrs. Hardy to respect kind of the traditional like nuclear American family values and roles for a mother to cook and clean and be there for her husband. That's all. Like we don't learn anything about this lady named Jane. And I was like, really? Like,
Yeah.
okay,
I
alrighty.
Well,
Well,
I think it's surprising that this film is only 80 minutes long.
mhm.
It's so short.
Another
And
throwback to A Family Affair.
yeah,
The same
Yes.
honestly.
runtime.
Yeah, like just these short run times of an Andy Hardy film, but I think why is this one not a little bit longer? Because I feel like there's more loose ends to tie up as opposed to Andy Hardy's Blonde Trouble, which is 25 minutes longer in length and has much less actual like important plot elements to tie up and everything. For this one to be so short and for a pretty decent chunk, I mean, I would say probably like at least 5 minutes, 6 minutes of this is just archival footage,
Mhm.
is pretty cheap on MGM's part, honestly, for them to go that route. Especially with such a like beloved character.
Mhm.
Fro- from their past. I think a lot of people probably felt a little I don't know, they probably felt a little disappointed by that because of some of their choices. However, I will say that something that they really can't fix to make this film better is the fact that Lewis Stone passed away, unfortunately, and his
Yeah.
presence is just greatly missed in this film. I think I speak for all of us when I say that he was probably the strongest consistent element of these films, and the fact that he's not there really leaves a giant hole in these films and did hurt my enjoyment of them.
Yeah.
My
And
enjoyment of this one, yeah.
I know we talked about it, but I do think those moments of reflection from Andy Hardy in Judge Hardy's like private office, I guess, is those are the most emotionally impactful to me. Like he's looking up at
Yes, when he's looking up
portrait.
that portrait is so good.
Hmm.
Yeah,
We should
the
get
scene,
one, I think.
Yeah, we
Whenever
should
we
get-
get
we should-
offices,
I would
we
like
should
to
get
get
that.
one commissioned. If anyone's listening out here, please contact the podcast.
and it's like the scene where he walks into his dad's old study. It's completely empty now. As in he's it's left all the same, but his father has passed away, and he just looks up at the giant portrait, and he's trying to think about what to do in this moment when everybody in the town is turning against him because public opinion is rising against him trying to bring this company to Carvel to build this factory. And he doesn't know what to do because he can't confide in his father for that advice that he looked to when he was much younger. And it just shows that even though he's an adult now, he still needs that guidance in some things, even though that he is a lot more mature in this film and he has a family of his own. I really thought that was impactful, and it really did make me emotional. I will admit.
Yeah, I was pretty moved. But I also do like that this feels like a family affair. Like it does feel like we're going back to the basics with the Hardys, even though we don't have Judge Hardy with us. So there's a lot to like. There's a lot to like in this one. I think I do agree that the nostalgia is an issue. I think that's what really holds the film back from being great. But I do like the fact that we get to see this character matured and grown up and then dealing with the issues that his father dealt with when it comes to land and business. I was I hate to say I was pretty compelled. I think this is not the worst way the series could end. It's certainly a big bounce back from the last like 3 or 4 movies.
Mhm.
And Mickey Rooney, he's still got it. He's still got that charm. I still really dig him in this role. So and I walked away liking the movie. It does kind of remind me of like a Linklater esque, like, oh, we're gonna get before midnight, we're gonna get these characters back together. We see a lot of the same characters we've met over the movies. It's kind of interesting to have those flashbacks, although I do agree it doesn't make sense given what they are. They're of these women that he's been with. That it is strange, but I do think the movie's pretty good. I think it's a pretty entertaining standard Andy Hardy movie they made, but instead of having Judge Hardy, they make Andy Hardy Judge Hardy. Literally.
Yeah. So they at the end of the film they do nominate him to be
To be the
a judge for Carvel, and it's a nice little end to the film because it makes things come full circle, and he is able to almost make his dad proud after he despite him not being there. And at the same time, though, I didn't fully buy what they were trying to do with this one because they were trying to set up subsequent Andy Hardy films after this, where it was Andy Hardy taking the role of Judge Hardy and being able to give advice to his children about their problems. And that's what is completely hinted at by the to be continued end credits, as well as a portrait of Andy Hardy's family with his wife and his 2 kids in the
Mhm.
same style that the Hardy family were presented in the opening credits of all the other Andy
Mhm.
Hardy films leading up to this one. But I just don't really think that Andy Hardy or Mickey Rooney really possesses that same ability that Judge Hardy possesses to give wisdom. In the one scene where we see something like that is when his son, played by Mickey Rooney's real life son, Teddy Rooney, playing Andy Hardy Jr. in this film, goes to his dad in Judge Hardy's old study and asks him for advice, and he says he wants to do a man-to-man talk. And so we get to see Andy Hardy taking the role of his father and being able
Yes.
to listen to his
Mhm.
son and give him the advice that he needs. But Teddy Rooney is far too young in this role, I believe.
Way too young.
Yeah,
Mhm.
to be possessing the same caliber of problems that Andy Hardy had when he was in high school in the films, because he's only about 8.
8.
And I also just don't fully buy Mickey Rooney in this role. Maybe it's just because I've spent 15 movies listening to Andy Hardy have these problems and deal with his maturity or lack thereof. But to
Mhm.
just go right into he's supposed to have that type of wisdom that Judge Hardy
His
was able
father
to
had,
instill in
yeah.
him is a little hard to believe, I
Yeah,
think.
completely.
I suppose you're. I bought it, but I see what you're saying. Like it is after all these movies, but it's been like 12 years. Like surely a man grows.
No, but 12 years, I still don't think that 12 years is enough to like I feel like the thing about Judge Hardy is that he exuded that confidence, and you feel like it's this wisdom that he amassed over a while. And I feel like it's a little
It's early. Yeah.
it's a little early to
Mhm.
be able to make that switch, and it doesn't it cheapen it's a little cheap, I think,
Yeah,
honestly.
I mean that's kind of where I land too, because I just conceptually with everything they're trying to do, I find it very interesting, but I just don't feel like any of it is really earned at all. And because when so basically Andy takes this deal to buy this land to a guy named Chandler who has property in Carvel, and it's all set up and it's good to go. And then Chandler was like, "No, I want more money." And Andy tells him that they no longer have a deal because Chandler went back on his word. And then Chandler sets up he has a meeting with like other prominent like Carvel leaders, and he's like, this factory coming to the town is not a good idea because of X, Y, and Z. So then they start the rezoning project, kind of like what we were talking about earlier, to stop the factory from being built at BZ's land. Um, and then so Andy is kind of met with opposition from all of Carvel. And he starts to take it very personally because people are kind of starting to attack him and his family for his desire to bring this factory there. And also people around him are also getting affected by this the efforts to put the factory in Carvel. And so during his moment of weakness and kind of confusion, he goes into Judge Hardy's office to look for that man-to-man talk that he always used to get. And now he has to kind of figure it out by himself. And then
Mhm.
triumphantly, he comes out and he's like, "Oh my God, I have it. Like, I know what to do." And then they go to the like local community meeting. I forget there's an actual term for it, but I'm forgetting.
City Hall.
City Hall. Yeah,
Yeah.
the City Hall
Yeah.
meeting. Um, and so I was kind of expecting like this giant speech, and Andy's like still obviously very beat down by the whole thing, but he's like, "Well, listen, I just wanted to do something good for the community, and also like I hadn't told anyone about this, but I was also going to move back, so it wasn't like I was just doing this and letting it run amok in Carvel like I was going to be here." And then he just leaves. Like it wasn't a triumphant speech in the way that I thought. Like he didn't really stand up. Like he pushes back and gives a counterpoint to what they're saying, but it's not like it doesn't remind me of those like Judge Hardy moments like at the end of A Family Affair when the whole town again is
Oh
against
yeah, that's
him, you
it's not
know.
that, no.
Yeah, and
I
then like the plot, Carvel just decides they're like, "Okay, actually we do really like your dad and we really like you, and okay, we'll let the factory come." And okay, we actually want you as a judge. Like it just doesn't. A lot of the plot twists don't feel earned. Conceptually, I still like them, but
Well,
I agree
it's
with you, Chris. But
it's
yeah.
nice that they still feel like having a third act is for suckers, and they should just tie up everything in 10 minutes.
That
and
too. That
then
too.
we're done.
It's
you know?
refreshing. It's like,
Yeah.
yep, we still got it.
You thought 12 years would let us marinate on the structure of these movies? You were wrong.
No. Yes.
It's like okay, Andy, you can stay and carve, or okay, Andy, we'll build the factory, will be built, and we actually really like you. And also, can you be a judge here? We need you to be a judge here. Oh, you need permission. You don't want to let your boss down at the company that you work at? Well, don't worry.
We already
We
talked
talked to
him.
I
him.
already talked to him, and he said
He
it was
said
really.
you should do it.
He said you should do it.
I also find it funny how, like, I get that they were a popular family because of the judge's status within the community. But I mean, people treat Andy like he's a god in this town. Like everybody knows
really
about
do.
this guy. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what has he done? He has not.
It's like when I go back to Athens, Georgia. It's the same thing. No, I'm kidding.
Well, you are a god here.
Yeah, you are. You
Athens,
are.
guys.
You're a
You are a
legend.
legend.
I'm kidding. That was a
So,
joke.
Yeah.
Are you gonna go visit? Are you gonna go visit the Hardy household, Cody, in Santa Monica?
I'm thinking about it. I'm gonna be out that way pretty soon. I'm like, let me find this address.
Yeah.
What if we doxed Andy Hardy?
Yeah.
That would be pretty awful, but pretty
I think
funny.
Teddy Rooney would be pretty mad at us. So
Teddy Rooney unfortunately passed away in 2016. I looked
okay.
it up. Yeah, it was very sad.
Rest in peace.
You mean Teddy
Yeah.
Rooney didn't get to see the film Sully? That's sad.
I know he was beat up about that.
He would have
so I-
really liked it, I'm sure.
but
Oh, anytime I hear someone died before Sully came out, it just a little sadder.
Was it like
They had no
you're-
chance to see it.
your
That's-
BC and AD before BS and
B-
AS
BS
before
and
Sully
AS.
after Sully?
Before Sully and after Sully. You died before Sully. I'm sorry. You really should have seen that movie, man. That was good.
that was yeah.
He flew over. He landed the plane in the Hudson.
You wouldn't
He
believe
did.
it.
You wouldn't believe it if I
It's so
told you.
real. It's a documentary at this point. Like it's
At
crazy.
this point, Tom Hanks is Sully. Also, we don't talk enough about how his name is Sully Sullenberg. Like that's so funny.
Sully
I mean,
Sullenberger.
Sully Sullenberg. Wow. I thought it was Berg.
No,
Burger's better.
Sullenberger.
It's just this conversation's making me want to watch Sully. I might need to leave to watch Sully.
We could
Oh,
do
well.
a late period Tom Hanks season, and then we cap with time.
Oh,
what
yeah.
about
Or here
Is it here
Here
or
or
is it
time? I think it's called Here, right?
okay? My
The New
bad.
Zemeckis.
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
no, but
the
that
New
looks great. I love
Yeah.
that trailer.
I'm
what?
so
Yeah, what if
excited.
what if we did a period on like late style Zemeckis? What if we did a podcast episode on like
He's got
Robert
some
Ze-
bangers.
That would
I
be
think
interesting.
welcome to Marwin, fascinating. Also,
Pinocchio.
Allied, great movie.
Allied, I
I-
always wanted to
I
see.
really want to see Allied. I
Yeah.
always
Allied,
thinking
Allied goes. I can't believe he got it made. And Flight, oh, of course. The Walk was good.
I did like the
I,
walk.
I still didn't finish The Walk, but I watched like most of it, and I forget why I never finished it. But yeah, it was pretty good. from
Chris,
what
you're
I
never
saw.
gonna guess how it ends.
Wait, he gets across.
Yes. Well, oh, shit.
Crazy.
I spoiled
We'd
it.
never be-
Damn it. I was gonna say just one like last remark on Comes Home because I think we found better topics to talk
Yeah.
about. But I find it interesting that Marion has had a child, yet we hear nothing about Jim's father, or really anything about Jim other than he's like, yeah, my
Oh,
uncle's not that bad.
He's
you know?
really tall. I did
He's
like
extremely tall.
I did
Mhm.
like the teenagers, and they're looking
Yeah.
through Andy Hardy's record collection, and they're like roasting his music taste, and they're like, this music's so old, man. And they're like playing different songs, and then they finally play one that they really like, and then they start dancing.
That was pretty good. That's pretty good.
But
Yes.
I guess our do we have any final thoughts on Andy Hardy Comes Home?
Well, no, I don't really think so. I think I said what I needed to say, but I'm happy to be done. But it's a shame. It's a shame that maybe they didn't get to make a few more, but at the same time, it's saved us a few hours of our time. So, and also no Lewis Stone is not an Andy Hardy franchise that I necessarily want to watch because
Want to be in? I understand that. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I could take another 10 more years of movies with Andy Hardy as the father. I don't this probably, if it weren't for the podcast, I don't really know how far I would have gotten into this series, but yeah, another 10 years of films. That would have been pretty rough, I think.
I would have liked them to have brought it back in like the 80s when Mickey Rooney's not doing anything. Like I would have liked to have seen like Grandpa Hardy,
Yeah.
That could
Yeah.
have been good.
I mean, I'm curious if it could even be like something that MGM could go back to, maybe as like a TV show. Because I mean, I guess the stuff they're putting out on MGM Plus, it looks a little
well,
rough.
remember, Fulton,
it seems pretty
Warner
money
Brothers.
laundering.
Warner Brothers
They
owns
own
the
the
rights
catalog.
to they own the
rights to Andy
catalog
Hardy.
to
That's
yeah.
right. Well,
But
David
they
Zasloff,
could
if you're
still,
listening,
David, what if we do a new I mean, who's gonna watch this Harry Potter show? I understand they're just readapting the novels. Like they're gonna just
Yeah.
do it. That's stupid.
it's a bad idea.
Yeah, that's dumb.
It's a
Sorry,
very
I work
bad
for
idea.
them. I shouldn't be ousting my boss.
We
All
can
right,
we
well,
can cut
we can
that out.
cut it out. Don't worry. But all I'll say is I will gladly be a consultant for this Andy Hardy revival series. And
Yes.
yeah, the offers
I think we should
open,
all
yeah.
be. I think.
Yeah.
I also
Yeah.
think we should have Fulton play Andy Hardy. But
I
we do it.
I don't know.
Of all the people I know, I think Fulton would be the best
Yeah.
modern day Andy. He kind of is.
Thank you. That's quite
Mhm.
flattering.
Andy Hardy saying the word like Rizlord or whatever
Yeah.
the kids are saying.
What are the kids
Rizzler.
saying these days? I don't know what a goon cave is, but I'll check one out.
Well, I guess now we should get into our Andy Hardy series rankings from best to worst, or I don't know. I feel like worst to best is a little bit more kind of climactic. So, well, Fulton, I think that you've given this list the most contemplation out of the three of us, so I think you deserve to
definitely
be the
have.
one.
I threw this
Yeah.
together and
Said-
drunken, what do they call it?
So we're each going through our list, correct? So are we each going like our number 16 and working up, or
Yeah, we're
kinda-
going 16 to 1. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll start number 16. So I have The Hardys Ride High. I will preface, I guess, with my list, this is important to say, none of these films like I really like outright hate. And kind of 8 to 16, or I'll say 9 to 16, they kind of all blend together. Really, I think any of these are kind of interchangeable with each other, but just with that, put up front. So 16, the Hardys Ride High. 15, I have Out West with the Hardys. 14, I have Judge Hardy's Children. 13 is The Courtship of Andy Hardy. 12 is Andy Hardy's Double Life. 11 is Love Laughs at Andy Hardy. 10 is Andy Hardy's Private Secretary. 9 is You're Only Young Once. And then these are where I'm kind of like I feel a bit more concrete about some of them. I don't think that y'all will agree, but I think it will be interesting. So at 8, we have Andy Hardy Comes Home. 7, A Family Affair. 6, Life Begins for Andy Hardy. 5, Andy Hardy's Blonde Trouble. 4, Andy Hardy Meets Debutante. 3, Love Finds Andy Hardy. 2, Andy Hardy Gets Spring Fever. And number 1, Judge Hardy and Son.
Wow.
Whoa.
So that's
Judge
kind
Hardy
of
and Son at 1. That's impressive.
That's surprising. I
You're
understand.
crazy. Who's gonna match this boy's freak?
I think maybe Blonde Trouble might be up a little high, but I just did not.
Like the train stuff you really liked?
I don't know why I liked it. It being all in one location, I was like, okay, I'm kind of down for this. This is a little interesting. But I mean, I think in a lot of ways, obviously, and we've covered it before, but I mean, a lot of these films are problematic. So there is that. I'm not ignoring any of that. But yeah, I just okay, I'll start with number one, I guess why I chose Judge Hardy and Son. I just think that's the most interesting dynamic that is it has the most interesting like family dynamic. Like I really do believe in Mickey Rooney and Lewis Stone being a father and son, and I think it's really interesting that like the sudden sickness of the mom and how that kind of plays out through the film. I mean, it is a pretty dark film, and I feel like you're really seeing a different
yeah.
side of Judge Hardy.
And I mean, you have the whole plot with the divorce, right? Is that the same film?
That
No,
is
that's the courtship of Andy Hardy.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, the divorce is in like the yeah, that is okay. I was thinking because Judge
this
Hardy
is the one
and
with the little
Son.
boy with the who can communicate via radio, right?
No. That
That
was
is a different one.
That was Love Finds Andy
Oh,
Hardy.
no.
Judge Hardy and Son has the B plot where like um an older mom and dad are under really tough financial pressure and they're like, well, we only have one daughter, but she like disowned us. And then they have to find the initials.
Yes.
And then he's like, that's the whole B plot to that movie.
And that's right. That's right. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
and then
okay,
and
I'm
then
remembering
there's
this.
also when he has to tell his sister about his mom's sickness and he has to drive through the rain and that's
Yes, that's great.
It's
That's a great bit.
very good stuff. I mean, and then Andy Hardy gets spring fever is I just find that to be such an interesting side of Andy Hardy too.
That's a great film. I love that one. That's one of my favorites.
Love Finds Andy Hardy and Andy Hardy Meets Debutante. I mean, they're just so powerful because Judy Garland is in them. And I think I know where you guys will fall with your number one. So that's why I was always like, oh, I think we're gonna be a little different in that regard.
You
but
did. Yeah, you threw a wrench in there, bro.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's just personally, I mean, I'm not gonna say these are gonna change because I don't really think I'm gonna return to them. So I'm gonna say this is how I feel right now, and I mean, I don't know. We'll see what the future holds. But as of right now, this is just like I don't even know if these are really the best in terms of an overall film. Like in terms of being objective, I don't know if this is true. But in terms of my personal investment and the emotions that I was able to catch up on, that's how I felt. So I guess that's where I was kind of how I planned my list, at least.
I like the list. It was good.
Yeah, I liked it.
Although I think Blonde Trouble way too high.
Yeah, Blonde Trouble is that's
I
crazy.
You're insane.
Well, I guess Cody, you can go next. I'll save mine.
You'll close us out. Okay, Chris. Yeah. All right, folks, and here we go. We already talked about Blonde Trouble. It's my least favorite. Blonde Trouble at 16. Crazy for that one. I think we have the same 15 Out West with the Hardys.
Yes.
Love Laughs at Andy Hardy at 14. Andy Hardy's Double Life, 13. The Courtship of Andy Hardy at 12. Judge Hardy's Children at 11. This is where it gets kind of controversial. Andy Hardy Comes Home is at 10. So I have it pretty high. The Hardys Ride High is at 9. Also, this is a late. I bumped this up last minute. Andy Hardy's Private Secretary at 8. You're Only Young Once at 7. A Family Affair at 6. Andy Hardy Meets Debutante at 5. Life Begins for Andy Hardy is 4. Andy Hardy Gets Spring Fever. That's my 3rd. Judge Hardy and Son, your number 1, is my number 2. And to no one's surprise, Love Finds Andy Hardy is number 1. I think the Judy Garland factor is so strong here. And I'm just like, yeah, I gotta do it. I gotta do it.
Yep.
We're not that different in the top 5.
We're
not-
pretty
Yeah.
close.
yeah.
We're pretty close there. I think a lot of us are going to be pretty close there.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's just like by virtue of having Judy Garland in your movie, it really puts you a
You're-
notch
it's
above
gonna
the rest.
bump you up. I am kind of surprised with how I saw A Family Affair twice. Like I liked that film, and I'm kind of surprised it didn't crack my top 5. Looking back at these movies, it is
Well-
kind of amazing they got 5 movies better than that.
Yeah, what the thing
Yeah.
is though is we mentioned it before when we first started talking about these movies, or I at least mentioned it, that I was sad that Lionel Barrymore didn't reprise his role, but I really think, like, to use a more contemporary example, it's like how people forget almost that there was a different actor playing Dumbledore
Or
in the
War
Harry Potter
Machine.
movie.
Because Terrence Howard
Or
used to
War
play
Machine.
War
Yeah,
Machine.
Terrence Howard.
Yeah.
He had his math and he just left. It's like I'm
Yeah.
gonna become a 2 + 2 is not 4. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
And then Don Cheadle stepped in.
Yeah,
Don
it's-
Cheadle, good.
Really,
I love
what
Don Cheadle.
we should have been saying is when Don Cheadle stepped in, they're like, oh, this is a Lewis Stone type thing, like
Yeah.
an Andy
Yeah, it is.
Hardy.
Yeah,
They took
I
a-
started saying that to people, and they just looked at me really puzzled. And
Yeah.
Well, it's crazy. They did 2 Lewis Stones in that series with the Hulk. Initially
Yeah,
it was
that's
Edward Norton, and then
Lewis Stoning it.
Mark Ruffalo.
oh, remember when they Lewis Stoned Mad Max?
This is a good.
I like this
good
one.
bit.
Yeah.
Well, so this is my list. I think me and Cody's are similar in some ways, but so number 16 is The Courtship of Andy Hardy. Number
Oh.
15 is Out West with the Hardys. Number 14.
All 3. That's a 3. That's a
all
triple
3 of
one.
us. So that's the
All
second
3 of us
worst.
have it at 15. Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Number 14, Andy Hardy's Blonde Trouble. Number 13,
All right.
Love Laughs at Andy Hardy. Number
Mm,
12,
Yeah, that's rough.
Andy Hardy's Double Life.
Me
Number
too.
11, Andy Hardy Comes Home. Number
Ooh.
10, Andy Hardy's Private Secretary.
Same here.
Okay.
Number 9, Judge Hardy's Children. Number 8, A Family Affair. Number
Oh
7.
wow, at 8.
Hmm.
Well, it's still pretty good. Like, I mean,
It's still pretty good.
I would say like everything from like 5 to 1. I'd say like I liked this. So number 7, The Hardys Ride High. Number 6, You're Only Young Once, which I don't entirely like remember all too much. I just remember it being pretty good, and I think that there were parts of the other films that I was like, oh, I didn't like that part, or I thought that was annoying or something, and so that was why. Like with The Hardys Ride High, there was that whole Aunt Millie subplot that just felt very
yeah.
mean, and that's why it definitely got.
I
kicked
still
down a
liked it
notch.
because it was pretty. I was just like, wow, we're
No, I
going
mean, it
here.
was it was good.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It was mean though. You're right. It was
Yeah,
mean. I
yeah.
understand knocking it down.
And then 5, Andy Hardy Meets Debutante. 4, Life Begins for Andy Hardy. 3, Andy Hardy Gets Spring Fever. 2, Judge Hardy and Son. And 1, Love Finds Andy Hardy. Like, Love
Nice.
Finds Andy Hardy is the kind of movie that I'm like thinking about throwing on again in a few years or
Yeah.
something. Or it's
No,
something
it's a great movie.
it's a film that I would show people. And I can't even think, even Judge Hardy and Son, I like Judge Hardy and Son quite a bit too. And Andy Hardy Gets Spring Fever. But you need to be like really enmeshed in the Hardyverse to like,
That's
You have
fair.
to
I
take
think
the Hardy. You have to
appreciate
be
them.
Hardy pilled. You have to be Hardy
Yeah.
pilled
Yeah.
to give that.
You have to be able
Yeah.
to use Lewis Stone as a verb
It's
to
kind of
really
interesting. Yeah, we've become hardy pills, but there's a pill that can make you hardy.
Blue Chew, our
Which
new
is,
sponsor. Yeah.
What? Sorry, I'm watching too much Jim and Eagle. I can't.
Well,
Blue Chew.
well, boys, that's about all the Andy Hardy that I'll probably be able to talk about for the rest of my life. But
That's it. We did it.
We're
I do
truly
think
bonded in
it
a different way.
there is such a strong chance that Mickey Rooney is our and George Seitz is our like most watched director and most watched actor on the
Oh
end of
my
the year
God.
on Letterboxd.
I didn't
That
even
would
think
be a
It's
about
very
that.
possible.
I mean, yeah, I highly doubt that there's really going to be any other director that I'm gonna have like watched like
14
13
movies.
yeah,
Yeah, 13 movies.
13 movies that they directed.
Yeah, 13.
That could be a fun holiday
Challenge.
episode. Us talking about our letterbox
Letterboxd
stats and
stats.
top 10
Oh my
of the
God.
year.
Amazing. My most watched actors this year. Mickey Rooney, 16 films. Faye Holden, 15 films. Lewis Stone, 15 films. Sarah Hayden, 14 films. Cecilia Parker, 12 films. Anne Rutherford, 12 films.
Oh my God.
This is awesome.
He's got Andy Hardy fever.
In the collections, there's no Andy Hardy collections.
Yeah,
Oh, there
I
is.
mean, there,
Nope. Yeah, there is. My
there
bad.
should
Never
be,
mind.
yeah.
Last year, I think mine was Hong Sang-soo was my most watched director, and Vin Diesel was my most watched actor, which is probably
'cause
the
you went
funniest
through
combo. I went through all the Fast and the Furious movies, yeah, which were great. I encourage everyone to do that.
Well, that's I guess that's all we have to say, but we are going to be taking a little break before we begin our next series, which will be covering the filmography of one John Boorman. I'm very excited to talk about this because I think Boorman's a really great director that doesn't really deserve his proper time in the spotlight. And I think we'll have a lot to talk about. And also, yeah, we don't have to constantly be opening up an inflation calculator every week to figure out what the cost
That
of
was nice.
Well, until we get to Hope and Glory, then it's like, all right, let's bring him back.
All right, let's figure out how let's calculate how much. I don't even know what currency Ireland used before the euro, but
Well, it's
I don't
interesting
know.
because with that movie, you're going to have to calculate it during the war. And I wonder what they're. It would be interesting. It would be interesting.
What currency did Ireland use before? The Irish pound. Yeah, we'd have to be looking up what the Irish pound was.
I get a few of those each time I drink a Guinness.
But until next time, stay wavy.
Stay safe.
And keep on keeping on.
Mickey Rooney!
Hi, Millhouse. The studio sent me to talk to you, being a former child star myself and the #1 box office draw from 1939 through 1940.
Wow, spanning 2 decades.